Everything changes in the final moments of episode 7. One quiet breath, one strange sound in the distance, and suddenly Derry stops feeling like a town caught in fear and starts feeling like something alive, watching, waiting, and ready to swallow its people whole. The ending doesn't just shock you, it tells you in a whisper that the worst is still coming. Episode 7 builds slow pressure from the very beginning, but it is the final stretch where everything snaps into place. Before the ending hits, the episode spends time tightening the emotional grip on each of the main characters. We see them reaching a point where they can no longer outrun the fear that has been chasing them since the start of the season. Each of them senses something changing in Derry. The town feels heavier, streets feel quieter, even the air feels colder, as if the entire place knows Pennywise is waking up stronger than before. Throughout the episode, strange events start stacking up with no real explanation. People hear voices coming from dark corners, lights flicker in homes even when the power is steady. Children begin acting distant, almost as if they are listening to someone only they can hear. It's small things at first, things an adult might ignore, but all these moments point to something very wrong beneath the surface. Derry is not a normal town, it never was, but episode 7 makes you realize how deep that sickness runs. The characters themselves show signs of breaking. One feels guilt for ignoring earlier warnings. Another is haunted by a memory they thought they buried years ago. A third tries to stay brave but can no longer deny that something evil is shaping their fate. These emotional cracks matter because Pennywise feeds on them. The episode quietly makes it clear, fear is not just a reaction, it is fuel. And Pennywise has been starving for years. The real tension begins when the group notices a pattern in the disappearances happening around town. Every missing person leaves behind a clue that seems random at first. But episode 7 allows the viewer to understand that all of these clues form a pathway, a path leading back to Pennywise. It's as if he is inviting them closer, daring them to see the truth. The characters don't want to believe it, but everything they find pushes them to face the thing they fear most. As night falls in the episode, the atmosphere shifts. The sky looks darker than usual, and the wine carries a strange echo, almost like a laugh hidden inside it. The streets empty too quickly, as if people feel something coming and are trying to shut themselves away before it arrives. This slow build-up creates a feeling that the town is preparing for a moment it has experienced many times before, the moment Pennywise shows his full presence. Right before the ending scene begins, the characters gather in the place linked to the latest disappearance. They don't say it outright, but all of them know they are stepping towards something dangerous. The air grows still around them, their breath turns sharp, and there is this sense that the town itself is holding its breath along with them. They are not just searching for answers anymore. They are walking straight into the heart of Derry's curse. This entire build-up matters because it sets the emotional and supernatural foundation for that final scene. Episode 7 doesn't jump scare its ending into existence. Instead, it pulls you toward it slowly, step by step, until you suddenly realize you're already inside the moment, trapped with the characters, unable to turn back. The tension becomes a quiet whisper telling you that what comes next will change everything they thought they knew about Pennywise, about the town, and even about themselves. The episode stops pretending things are normal. It stops holding back the truth. And as the ending begins to unfold, you can feel the weight of every choice the characters have made. The fear is no longer behind them, it is right in front of them. The ending of episode 7 begins in a way that feels almost too quiet. The characters stand in that abandoned part of town, and for a moment, nothing happens. No sudden noise, no shadow moving in the corner. Just a heavy silence that presses against them like a weight. It is the kind of silence that feels wrong, the kind that makes your skin tighten because you know something is watching even if you can't see it. This stillness becomes the first sign that Pennywise is close, because in Derry, the quiet is often more dangerous than the noise. Then, slowly, the cold starts to spread. It doesn't rush over them, it creeps in gently, like a warning. Their breath turns white in the air, even though the night isn't that cold. One of them reaches for their jacket, confused, while the others start looking around as if expecting to see something standing behind them. The camera doesn't show anything, but the characters feel it, that shift in the air that tells them they are not alone. This growing chill is something viewers recognize from earlier episodes, a signal that Pennywise is opening a door between the world the characters know and the one he controls. The light around them begins to change in small ways. A street lamp flickers once, then steadies. The shadows stretch just a little too long, like they are reaching toward the group. These details seem small, but episode 7 uses them to prepare the audience for the moment everything flips. The scene feels like a slow inhale, holding tension at the peak before it drops. And when it finally drops, it does so without warning. A distant sound breaks the silence, the faintest echo of a giggle. It's so soft at first that the characters aren't sure they really heard it. But then it comes again, louder, bouncing between the empty buildings. It is a laugh without joy, a laugh that feels sharp enough to cut through the night. This is the moment when the characters truly understand that Pennywise is close enough to touch. The fear they have been carrying begins to take shape, becoming something real instead of something imagined. The ground beneath them shifts slightly, not enough to knock anyone over but enough to send a jolt through their bodies. It feels like the earth itself is reacting to something unseen. The characters look down, confused, and that's when they notice the small cracks forming in the pavement. The cracks spread outward like veins, glowing faintly for a moment before fading. This strange effect hints at Pennywise's influence, growing stronger, almost like the town's foundations are bending to his will. Then the real transformation begins. The darkness around them deepens, but not naturally. It spreads in a slow wave, swallowing the edges of the street until the characters feel boxed in. It's as if the night is folding over them, shrinking their world into a small circle of space. No footsteps approach, no shape appears, yet they all feel eyes on them, cold, curious, hungry eyes. This unseen presence becomes more terrifying than any physical appearance could be, because it suggests Pennywise doesn't need to show himself to control the moment. Suddenly, one character sees something the others don't, a balloon drifting out from an alleyway. It floats toward them with a gentle sway, glowing faintly in the darkness. The color shifts as it moves, from red to white to a dull gray, almost like the balloon is mimicking their fear. When it stops in front of them, hanging in the air without a string, all the sounds of the town disappear. Even the wind seems to stop breathing. This silence tells the audience that the balloon isn't just a symbol, it's an invitation. And that's when the voice arrives. Pennywise doesn't appear, but his voice slips through the shadows, whispering something that only half makes sense. The words twist and bend, sounding childlike one moment and ancient the next. It's not what he says that matters, it's how the characters react. Their faces freeze, their bodies tense, and for a second, each one looks like they are fighting something inside themselves. Pennywise isn't just speaking to them, he's reaching into their memories, stirring their deepest fears, pulling out things they hoped were forgotten. The ending scene closes with a sudden snap, like reality pulling itself back into place. The balloon pops without warning, the darkness fades, and the temperature returns to normal. But the characters aren't the same. They know now that Pennywise isn't just threatening them, he is preparing them, testing them, and the worst part is the feeling they all share. He wasn't trying to scare them. He was saying hello. The deeper meaning of episode 7's ending doesn't sit on the surface. It hides in the details, in the things most viewers notice but don't fully understand. This final scene is not just a scare moment, it's a message, a warning, and a look inside the true nature of Pennywise and the town of Derry itself. Every small element in that ending is placed with purpose, shaping a bigger picture that reveals what is coming next. The first major symbol is the cold spreading slowly around the group. It isn't just a spooky effect. In the world of IT, cold often represents the boundary between the human world and the place Pennywise comes from. That temperature drop suggests that the barrier between dimensions is thinning. Pennywise is not only waking up, he is pushing his world into Derry, piece by piece. The cold is not about fear, it's about transition. It hints that by the time the finale arrives, the characters may not even be fighting Pennywise on their own terms. They might already be standing halfway inside his territory without knowing it. Then there is the darkness that folds around them. It acts almost like a living creature, shrinking their surroundings until they feel trapped. This darkness represents something more powerful than fear, helplessness. Pennywise likes to show his victims that their choices don't matter, that the town itself supports him, that escape is only an illusion. The darkness swallowing the edges of the street is Derry revealing its true nature, a place shaped by Pennywise, controlled by Pennywise, and always ready to help him feed. The shrinking circle of light around the characters is a visual way of saying that their world is getting smaller and their options fewer. The balloon drift is another important symbolic moment. Usually, Pennywise uses red balloons, but the shifting color of this one is a clue many viewers miss. Red has always symbolized danger and blood. White represents innocence. Gray represents confusion or the loss of clarity. Watching the balloon shift through those colors shows the emotional state of the characters. They have reached a point where innocence is gone, danger is rising, and everything in between feels uncertain. The balloon changing color may also reflect Pennywise's growing ability to influence their minds. It's less a warning and more a demonstration. He can manipulate not only the world around them, but their understanding of it. The cracks in the pavement hold another layer of meaning. They appear only briefly, glowing for a moment before fading. These cracks are like veins running through the town, hinting that Derry is breaking under Pennywise's return. But they also connect to the idea that Derry has always been split between what people want to believe and what actually exists beneath the surface. The glowing cracks look almost alive, suggesting that the evil under the town is spreading, reaching upward, and preparing to break through completely. It's a reminder that the horror of Derry isn't centered around Pennywise alone. The town itself is part of the cycle. One of the most interesting symbolic elements is Pennywise's voice in the ending. He doesn't appear physically, which is important. His voice comes through the shadows, twisting and shifting in tone. This is Pennywise showing that fear works even without a face. By speaking without appearing, he forces the characters to imagine him in their minds, and imagination is where fear becomes most powerful. Pennywise isn't trying to frighten them with his presence. He is showing them that he can reach them anywhere, anytime, with nothing more than a whisper. That is a different kind of power, one that signals a more dangerous Pennywise than the version the audience might expect. The most chilling symbolic moment comes at the very end, when the balloon pops and everything returns to normal. This reset is not meant to comfort the characters. It is meant to confuse them and make them question what they just saw. Pennywise loves to blur the line between illusion and reality. When the world snaps back into place, the characters realize they can't trust their senses anymore. They may not know when Pennywise is truly present or when he is simply testing their minds. This adds a psychological layer to the horror that episode 7 uses to prepare viewers for the intensity of the finale. Together, all these symbolic pieces build one powerful message. Pennywise is no longer hiding. He is shaping the world around. The characters bending Derry to his will and marking them as his chosen targets. The ending is not just a scene. It is a map of everything he is about to do, a silent declaration that the final battle will not be on equal ground. The ending of episode 7 does more than scare the characters. It reshapes the entire direction of the story and lays the foundation for a finale filled with danger, truth, and the kind of terror Derry has been hiding for decades. Everything that happens in those last few minutes is designed to push the characters into a point of no return. They cannot walk away from what they saw. They cannot pretend the town is safe. And most importantly, they cannot deny that Pennywise has chosen this moment to strike at full power. The first major setup for the finale is the shift in the characters themselves. Before episode 7, they were frightened, but still unsure. They doubted some things, they questioned their memories. They tried to find logic in events that had no logical explanation, but the ending destroys that layer of doubt. After hearing Pennywise's voice, after seeing the world twist around them, they are no longer dealing with rumors or strange clues. They are dealing with the fact something monstrous is awake, and it knows exactly who they are. This realization forces them into a corner where they must act, no matter the cost. The balloon popping at the end works like a symbolic trigger for their next steps. It marks the moment when the characters understand that this fight is personal. Pennywise wasn't just threatening the town, he was calling out to them specifically. This suggests that in the finale, they will not be passive victims wandering into danger. They will become the center of Pennywise's attention, whether they want to be or not. And when IT focuses on someone, the danger increases 10 times over. The finale will likely push each character into facing the fear tied to their deepest wounds, because Pennywise thrives on exploiting the parts of themselves they try hardest to ignore. Another important setup is the condition of the town itself. Episode 7 makes it clear that Derry is starting to react like a living organism responding to pain. The cracks in the pavement, the strange temperature shifts, the way darkness behaves, and naturally, all of these signs point to something ancient waking beneath the town. The finale will probably explore this connection further, showing that Pennywise is not simply living in Derry, he is rooted to it. The town protects him, hides him, and sometimes even speaks for him. This means the characters won't just be fighting a creature, they will be fighting the place they grew up in, the place they once trusted. The voice Pennywise uses in the ending also sets up an important theme for the finale: psychological manipulation. He now knows their weaknesses, and they know that he knows. This opens the door for illusions, visions, and memories that twist in dangerous ways. Pennywise will likely push them to their emotional breaking points, not because he needs to, but because he enjoys watching people fall apart from the inside. The finale may force the characters to separate at moments, even if they don't want to, because Pennywise loves isolating his victims. Fear grows faster in silence and loneliness, and he will use that to his advantage. The darkness swallowing the edges of the street hints at something even bigger: Pennywise's ability to reshape reality itself. This means the finale may not take place in a world that obeys normal rules. Places might shift, time might feel strange. Objects may not stay the same from moment to moment. Pennywise's presence bends the world around him, and the characters may step into spaces where logic is gone. This creates the possibility of a finale where the fight is not physical, but mental and emotional, a battle for their sanity as much as for their survival. The final and most important setup is the feeling Pennywise leaves behind. He does not end episode 7 with violence. He ends it with a message. By appearing only through his voice and illusions, he shows confidence. He is not rushing to attack because he believes he has already won. This arrogance is dangerous, but it also reveals something useful for the finale. A creature that believes itself undefeatable can be tricked. The characters may discover that their strength lies not in fighting Pennywise directly, but in finding the cracks in his confidence, the same way he finds the cracks in their fear. Episode 7 ends with a sense of unfinished business. The characters are shaken, but not broken. The town is changing, but not fully lost. And Pennywise is watching, but not yet satisfied. All of this builds toward a finale that promises to reveal the truth behind Derry, expose the full power of Pennywise, and test the characters in ways they are not prepared for. The ending of episode 7 is not the climax, it is the doorway. Once they step through it, the final confrontation becomes unavoidable.